That's a lot of paperwork you have there.
Yeah.
What are you doing with all that?
Just we need it for like oil and... Where's the diff one?
We could make a book out of all the paperwork that we've got.
I know, for this car. If you need to service this car, you got to read all this.
Yeah.
Where is the diff paperwork?
That's a lot of autometer boxes. You want to tell us what we're doing?
We're gonna run the wiring today. At the moment, I'm just going through everything that we've got for this car, which is a lot. Yeah, we're just gonna run the wiring, I think.
We're running the engine loom, basically.
Yeah, the engine
and the
loom.
ECU and stuff like that. So this is our wiring loom that we're going to be using. So it's out of the 5.7 VY, I think it was. This is out of. The system that we're running on this car, it's not too complex. We're not running a Haltech or anything in this, unfortunately. Maybe one day, stay tuned for that. But we are just going to be running the standard computer that's already been unlocked, or whatever it is that you need to do. Remember you had to crack phones back in the day to be able to put in things? That's what's happened with this. So the key will work, essentially, I believe. VATS has something to do with it.
Why does it say VS?
I don't know.
I thought VS's didn't come out with
And it says VSBT1.
5.7.
They didn't. And it says VSBT1. And why does it say Jeanette?
Maybe it's like off gone in 60 seconds. Every
Eleanor?
girl has their name.
You reckon? Every girl has their name.
Every lady.
Every lady has their name. Every car has a lady's name, do you
Yes.
remember that? Alright, so the basic idea that we're going to do is we are going to basically run this computer and just tee it into the standard wiring loom on the HQ. Okay, so we need to do, well, I need to do some research to figure out how all this works. Lucky I've got my Haynes manual. So we can figure out what all this means. And then hopefully we can lay it on the engine. We're going to put this under the dash, we think, at this stage. We just need to figure out what this does. We're not sure what this does, because this obviously goes inside the car on the VY. I'm assuming this is for gauges and stuff like that, for the dash, maybe. And it plugs into maybe a body control computer or something, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So it says blue. Blue. Done.
Is it just me or a Haltech looks easier than this right now?
Haltech looks easier than this right now. Haltech, help us. So that does that, and then sparky sparks happen, and it runs somehow.
Alright, so we have the benefit of not having pulled this wiring loom off, which means that we have no idea where anything goes. So what we're going to do is sit this on the car, try and plug everything in, figure out where the line, what they all go to, and what we need to keep and what we can delete. So Nathan, our resident wiring expert, is going to get stuck into that now.
You put the plug to the plug.
Alright, so a few things have happened since we last filmed. And we need to do a bit more research on the wiring itself to figure out what wires we want to keep and what not.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah, so we're going to leave it for now. We're going to do a little bit more research to figure out exactly what to keep, what not to keep. And then we'll come back to it then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Until then, we'll leave it at that.
Till then.
Alright, so last we left off, we basically laid the wiring loom over the engine. And that's about as far as we got. We plugged in as many plugs as we could figure out to try and figure out what the ECU is actually using in relation to just running the engine alone. But we needed to go away and do a little bit more research and get some more reference material to figure out exactly just how much we can strip this wiring loom down. When we first decided to lay this wiring loom on, I thought we were just going to basically lay it on. There'd be a few plugs that'd be extra and that'd be it. We'd just leave them loose, no dramas. But looking at the wiring loom now, there's a lot of plugs on there that we're not going to use, obviously. Stuff that would go to the body, as well as there's another bunch of plugs that we're not quite sure what they do at all. And it just doesn't seem right chucking in a whole wiring loom with all that unnecessary stuff being there. So we're going to have a crack at doing the right thing. We're going to try and strip the wiring loom out so it only has what it needs to have. And in doing so, we'll replace all the conduit as well to try and make it look a little bit newer and neater, because it is old, worn and starting to crack. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at what's labelled, look what's plugged in on the engine now, label it so I know what each plug does. Then I will use it against the reference material that we've been given. And thank you to all the guys out there that helped us out when I put up an Instagram post asking if anybody has any reference material on these pinouts. We had a bunch of people get back to us with a bunch of really good stuff and knowledge. So that was really useful. So thank you for that, guys. That was awesome. So first things first, it's time to get labelling. So you'll notice too that I'm actually labelling the plug itself. The reason why I'm doing that is because I plan to pull all this conduit off to expose basically the whole loom. Two reasons. One, I want to inspect the whole loom and make sure that there's no damages, there's no cracks or nothing that I can visually see. And two, I want to be able to trace every wire to figure out exactly where it goes so that way I can find out what is redundant and what's not. So this is our wiring loom. These two plugs here are the ones that actually plug into the ECU. I'm not exactly sure what that one does, but we'll figure that out. And the same with this one. I don't know what this one does. I'm assuming it's a body control module or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm pretty confident this is a body control module. So all I can do now is strip it back, trace the wires. Hopefully these lead to plugs that aren't actually in the engine harness itself, so we can just get rid of them straight away and just focus on what's actually in the engine. Alright, time to get stripping. You can see how brittle this stuff is. It's just breaking away, which is not ideal. I feel like this could be the one that everyone talks about, the one that gets cooked. Alright, so that took a little while, but the loom is pretty much stripped down. I've taken the tape off most things. The actual main loom is completely stripped, so I can trace all the wires. But it's done, it's clean, it's a shit job. You can see how much conduit and tape came out of this wiring loom. Now it's a case of tracing all the wires. Before I started this, what I did was I actually watched the Skid Factory's video on how to make a GM standalone wiring loom. It's an awesome video. Thanks Woody and Al for putting that together, because it gives you a lot of tips and tricks when it comes to doing this thing. And one of the main tricks that I've learnt was make sure that we label which one's the blue and which one's the red plug. Because once you take these locking tabs out, which is the red and the blue, they look exactly the same. So you need to be able to designate them. So thanks to the tip, because I would definitely have just pulled it off and not even thought about it. I would have been in a world of hurt after that. Well, this is where I'm leaving this tonight. I know it looks bad, but I think I figured it out.
I thought it was gonna be done. What did you do?
Man, this has been a task and a half. If we weren't going auto, why couldn't we go manual? And why do we need to have our AC?
I told you to just leave it.
I couldn't leave it.
I said to just leave it.
I watched too many YouTube episodes.
Oh my god. That's your issue.
Oh, okay, you're just gonna leave it.
Tuna's coming for the Fairlane today, everyone, so.
This has to be in before the tuna gets here.
Oh, dude.
Nah, it's not that bad. I'm just about done. It's funny because like I was watching.
Yeah, but like all the clips and that are now not on there. The ones, oh no, there they are. Wait, no, they're not there.
The clips, they're on the motor, so when we lay it back onto the motor, we just put it on.
Oh my god. Did it really need to be stripped back that far?
Yep.
What's all this?
That's what I'm figuring out right now.
Oh, nice.
See, I have done stuff.
E5 fuel relay, speed sensor output, earth. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is a manual and you just want to do a standalone loom. It's easy.
Yeah.
Easy as just rip shit out and there's
Yeah.
no dramas. But because it's an auto and we're using the standard auto, so all the wiring has to run to the auto as well, and we have AC, you basically strip nothing out of the actual engine harness. All we're stripping out is stuff like...
So you didn't need to do this?
I did, because I still need to pull out all the body wiring, or
Yeah.
because these plugs here, the body control,
Yeah.
right, which we don't run obviously because that's
Yeah.
in the car.
What are these?
Stripped all that out, so that's
What are these joints?
because from factory they have like a, see how they have two
Ah.
or three come in.
From
That's how they did it from factory.
That's how they do it from factory.
That's how they do it from factory.
And I thought Daniel's wiring was dodgy.
It's not as bad as it looks. It was last night. I was having a freak out last night.
I'm just gonna go home.
It was chaos at the beginning, but then I figured it out. This plug here, remember this thing?
Yep.
Remember how we couldn't figure out what that is?
Yep.
It's accelerated cable retard, or whatever it is. Relaxer. Accelerated cable relaxer. And all that is for cruise control.
Ah, okay.
So when you're on cruise control, it just basically relaxes the throttles, I think, so you don't like...
Yep.
Yeah, anyway. So I cut that out, so that's good. We had another plug here called a pin. Don't know what that did. So that's gone. But all this is basically, this goes into another harness inside the car, I think, is what happens. And then it just distributes out to like, it senses what you're doing with your AC. It's got your speed sensors, your tacho and that. So this will go to your dash. So this is like an under dash wiring loom.
Yep.
So basically I'm just cutting it all out. I'm just leaving the plug in for the minute because I need to know how many wires I'm going to end up here before I put a nice plug in it. Probably go with a Deutsch plug or something like that. But I'll do that once it's in the car and we're good to go. So I've stripped everything out that it didn't need to be in there because some things ran to the ECU and then some things are running to the trans. This is just a transmission position sensor. So this only figured out where the transmission was in gear. So it did your lights on your, on your thing and
okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
This is your actual trans controller. Not much gets changed out of this because it's
So it's only a little plug.
yeah, so that nothing really gets changed in that because there's nothing that we need to pull out.
Yeah.
Converter lockup, I don't know about this. Converter lockup, like disengagement wire. So basically it works in two ways. So if you're on cruise control and you cruise along and you hit the brake, it cancels that. It cancels the lockup of the converter, and it also will cancel the lockup of converter when you're cruising and it's locked up. When you hit the brake, it'll disengage it. I don't know whether we need to have it. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to, so all it needs to do is just get a signal from the brake switch, brake pedal switch.
Yep.
This is all the stuff that's making it complicated. If this was a manual, it'd be easy as. Like, honestly, this is an easy job if it was a manual. But because it's an auto, and there's so many things that run the auto, it just becomes much more complicated. And it means there's actually not that much that you take out of the wiring loom itself. The wiring loom pretty much stays as stock.
Or we should have just gone like a Turbo 400.
Yes, we should have just gone Turbo 400 and...
Full manual valve body.
Yeah.
Yeah, all mechanical, none of this bullshit
when we
coloured
blow
wires.
up the 4L60E and went for the Turbo 400, all this work that I did will be pointless. But then what I've done too, because when it comes to here, it also has like the ECU power and the ignition to turn the ECU on and stuff like that. The fuel pump relay trigger comes to here as well too.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've just pulled it out of here and I've extended it to run down to... You can round.
Oh wow, is that the wires there, the green and red?
Yeah.
You can tell how thicker it is.
I've extended it. Oh, they're only triggers, but this
Yeah.
one's for constant power for the ECU, so I made it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Because this here is what would plug into your relays on your Commodore. It runs your injectors and it runs your ignition coils on either side. They run two banks, left and a right, but we can wire it as one. It doesn't really matter. Learned that off Turbo Yoda. Thank you. Everything's going to run to here, and this will be where the fuse or the relay block will go.
Yeah.
So that's why I've moved it all out of the car so it runs out to there. I tried to film as much as I could of it, but it was just becoming too hard. I was out here till 11 o'clock last night. So I'm pretty much finished stripping everything that I need to get out of it. The last thing is just this low coolant level sensor. We can't use it, so that can come out. So it's just got earth, which shares just the earth with everything else basically. So come out from down here. That's easy. And then snip it out here. Now, if you haven't seen this before, and I haven't seen it before, the Holden plugs, to get them out, it's pretty simple. You just take these out, and then you just feed your wire back through the other way.
Oh, that's it.
Because they only just sit. Yeah, they're not clipped in or anything. They just sit in there. What actually holds them in is this.
That's so easy.
I know. Like that. But yeah, I'm pretty confident I've got it right. But we'll never know until we start the car. Hopefully it works.
Hopefully.
What's the worst that can happen?
Look, the Fairlane worked first shot, so
Yeah, I know.
there's no
You know
problem
what?
with the Fairlane.
I would rather do a Haltech than do this. The whole time I was thinking, why can't we just put a freaking Haltech into it? It'd be so easy. This wire goes to that wire, that go, why is it not like, where does this go? What does that hook into? What does this mean? So I've roughly taped everything back where I think everything went. I just went by where the kinks were in everything. So we might have to adjust it once we get it on the car. Then we'll put conduit on it, get the conduit on, sit in the car, realise it's all wrong, pull it apart, change it all, put it back together and do it again. Which is the highly likely possibility. We'll see how we go. The other thing I did too is I ran a wire in for the low cooling fan because the Commodores run two triggers for the fans, a high and a low. The high setting runs off the ECU at like 115 degrees, something like that, don't quote me, but it's too high. And the low setting runs off the BCM, or the body control module. I'm told you can run a plug, add a plug, so I've added a plug into number 42 on the blue side, and then you just get the tuner to add in, like just set it up so that that'll be the trigger for the low fan through this now. So hopefully that'll work.
Can tuner or fresh?
Fresh. You definitely want a fresh. Big tuna.
There's a snake in my boot.
Cool. Now I don't have that much, so we can, a lot of this old stuff is
I spent all night on this. Nah, Michael's done a really good job. He's labelled everything. This is a bit too out of my reach, this stuff. So he's absolutely killed it.
we think. We haven't seen it run yet.
Yeah. We're ready to lay it over the engine, aren't we?
Yep, it's
Yeah.
all conduited up.
Yeah, so we've taped it all up, we've conduited it. It looks pretty simple. We'll just lay it over like we did the other day.
Alright, so the wiring loom is basically in now. It's wired up as much as we can. The only things we've got left to do is to sort out the AC and stuff like that, but that can come at a later stage. Our MAF sensor as well too, we haven't done anything about that, and our intake temperature sender, that needs to be hooked up as well too, but that's all stuff that comes later. Everything else is in. We managed to get most of the wires back in the original position so they plugged in nice and easy. Taped in the original clips, so everything clips in like it should, so it should be good. The only thing that we have left to do now is, so this here will run to our relay block, which I want to set up somewhere around here in the quarter panel. So it'll run power from the battery over this, which will then run the relay block, just like in a factory car, and then that powers everything. And then this is what's going into the car itself, obviously to the ECU, and then these ones will go to various different things. I'm just leaving the plug on just for the minute, just to make it easy. As Nathan burps halfway through my talk. Yeah, all of this stuff we'll just figure out once the car's done, basically, because there's stuff like tacho and a few other like ignition feed and stuff like that. I can figure that out on that side of the car once we get it back. So we're hoping that we can feed this, hopefully feed it through here, otherwise it's going to have to go through here or there. But we want to wait until the car's in more of a finished state so we know what the interior looks like as to where we're actually going to mount this ECU before we go and drill a dirty great big hole through the firewall and then realise it's in the wrong spot. So it's going to sit here as it is for the minute, but that's no big deal. But apart from that, bit of sad news, the LSQ is actually going away for a little while now, isn't it? Because it needs to go away now to have the interior sorted out, the headlining put in it, the seats have been trimmed, they're all ready to go, so they're going to be put back in for us. What else is happening to it? Tail shaft needs to go in.
Tail shaft's going to be getting made. Possibly the exhaust. We were going to make the exhaust, but he wants to go stainless.
We can't weld stainless.
We can't weld stainless.
But all those little things that need to be done that we're not doing here, it's going to happen to it. Our glass is going back in it, doors are going on it.
Oh yeah, the doors are going back on because they've been all fixed. All the rust has been fixed in them.
Yeah. So
But it's going to come back a pretty complete car.
Yeah, it'll come back at a stage where once it's back, we just need to basically put the front end together, get this dialed in, get it wired up and running, and then it's pretty much finished.
Yeah.
So we can actually start enjoying it. The hard work's been done now. Now it's just all the little tedious stuff. So
Yeah. We know that everyone might be a little bit kind of upset that we're not doing the whole car.
Yeah.
But it comes to a point where we don't have the time to get it done.
Yeah, the reason why we're not doing it, stuff like the headlining, like that's tedious stuff that we're not good at. We're all thumbs when it comes to stuff like that, so it's better if someone else does it. And while it's there, they're going to put the interior in as well too for us. And like Nathan said, we just don't have the time to finish it ourselves, or do that bit ourselves. We're going to finish the actual car, of course, because we actually have other projects that we need to get started, including the projects that is coming straight after this. Stop looking at the oh well that.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, hopefully.
But then there's that too.
As well, but hopefully we're going to get a start on this. It's coming down to honestly finances at the minute. I need to get the money to be able to rebuild the engine. But we do have a fairly big project coming straight up after this, and we're looking at the minute because we're looking out the front gate because the tuner's coming to tune the Fairlane, so we can't. Is that him? That's why we need to get this out of here in a minute. But after this, we do have a little bit of a cool project coming along, something different, something that we haven't done before, kind of. We've done half of it. I guess we can give the hint that it is another LS. I know we said we wouldn't just be doing LSs, but we are throwing an LS into a car that never meant to have an LS as well before, and this one's going to be fun, I reckon. This one's going to be a good power to weight ratio, put it that way.
That'll be enough said, I think.
That's coming.
And no, it's not the Gemini.
No, it's not the Gemini. Unfortunately, it is goodbye to the HQ for a little while. Like I said, I think it'll only be gone for a max.
Nah, it's probably like a week or 2 weeks it's going to be gone. Or a month.
No,
a
I
month.
reckon probably a month.
A
Maybe
month.
at the most more. It depends on how we're going with COVID.
But everyone watching won't miss it.
Yeah. Depending on how we go with COVID, we might get it back within the month or 2 months. But we've got plenty of other stuff that we're going to be doing in the meantime. But it will be back for the important stuff that we're going to do.
Yeah.
We do all the important stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Nah, so we're looking forward to getting it back because as soon as he comes back, it's going to be all hands on deck. Get it done, get it finished, get it running, and take it for a cruise, basically.
Yep.
Until we see it again, we will catch you in the next episode, which might be the reveal of the next project car. I'm not sure. It could be something else. We don't know. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good build. Thanks for coming along with this build so far. See you then.
I'm in front of the camera.
Guess what? We're doing our deck. Just kidding.
Just kidding. That's got pumps and stuff.
Whoa, it stinks of fuel.
Yeah, it would reek of fuel.
Don't light a match anywhere near this box.
Boom.
We have already done a video
Our research.
explaining how to wire up a Subaru loom, which has got a lot of detail on boring stuff like stripping the sheathing off the loom and exposing the...
Here's a sneak peek. People have been asking about what we're doing for the gauges. We're not using the original gauges because we want reliability. So we've got full autometer gauges. They're like the carbon background with the bloody yellow lines. And
They do look good.
it's flashy. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the gauge. That's how it's going to run. It's plain and simple.
And we're going to wrap it too. So
Yeah, we're going to wrap that black too.
Anyway, we got to go because the tuner just arrived to tune the Fairlane.